Hey everybody, it's Justin, your guide into the other side. So I wanted to talk today about the core Otherside meta collections, right? I know there's a lot of things happening all at once right now. We have Apes Come Home in February of 2024, so that's relatively soon here. And again, we all know that your Otherdeed is your key to these Otherside experiences. So you might be wondering, okay, if I want to participate, do I have to have an Otherdeed? And we know that Voyagers are invited, so I would say probably. So as we wait for Apes Come Home, we also have the second half of 2024, the Legends of the Mara mobile expansion. So this kind of ties together ship parts, using our ships to explore the wilds. We also have Kodas as captains, as well as a leaderboard, and we can kind of see that we have resource rewards within this leaderboard. So again, that's going to be very interesting. So we also have Kodamars here as well, but I don't want to get too deep into the weeds. You might just be wondering, okay, I just want to start with an Otherdeed. What's important about Otherdeeds, right? And here I pulled up other decks because this is a great place to check out Otherdeeds, especially if you're looking for something in particular. And I'll kind of break it down just trait by trait and emphasize the importance of each trait in terms of priority. So in Legends of the Mara, there are two core game loops. There's hunting, you're basically fighting your shattered boss. I'll pull it up here. You're fighting your shattered boss, or you're farming, right? So basically, if you assign farmers to the deed, you'll be able to farm these sediment fragments, which deplete over time throughout the season. So you can see the traits that relate to each of these game loops. The environment is going to be in terms of priority. My priority is environment at the very top. Why? Environment is important because it's going to dictate, first of all, what your deed looks like in the game, and then additionally the size of your deed, depending on the tier. And then the size of the deed also impacts how many worker slots that you have to fight your shattered boss or farm, as well as how hard your boss is to defeat based off of the HP pools that it has, right? So lower tier deeds, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, are going to have easier bosses to fight, and it will be generally easier to maintain because you won't have to have as many Maras to defeat your shattered bosses, right? You won't have to buy as many Maras to assign to your deed. And of course, we'll go over Maras in just a moment. So the tier is the environment, and the tier is very, very important if you are fighting for, that loot and stuff in Legends of the Mara like that. Okay, now that we've got environment out of the way, the second priority thing that I have in my mind when I'm looking for a deed is the sediment type and tier. So sediment can come in 5 different types. You can kind of see this one has infinite expanse here. There are other types as well, and this is tier 3. So the tier determines how fast you're able to farm. How fast you're able to farm these sediment fragments, which is going to be important to evolving your Maras into Kodamars in the future. Probably the next season. So we have yet to see how sediment fragments will work, but I'm sure we'll have to see how that goes over time. So that's why sediment type is, second priority relative to environment. And then I don't necessarily want to speculate too much on resources because I think that's a little bit more far out. So if you are looking to build inside of Otherside, it's something to think about. As you can kind of see, there are different. You can kind of see on other decks okay, I'm losing my words here, but the resources here, there are 4 resource slots. They have the same scaling as the sediment type, so it goes from tier 1 to tier 3. So if you want to, maybe speculate on, what resources will be used towards building an Otherside, by all means, feel free to see that as an add-on if you have a deed with that. But again, if we are just taking a look at stuff like that, you can kind of see your resources from the other decks page here. You can also see the floor price as well as the holders. Other decks is great if you want to check out, everything about a particular deed if you are looking for your deed as well. And then last but not least, of course, there are, artifacts that may or may not be on the deed, but that is also speculative as well, so I won't necessarily cover that in this video. But another thing that's very, very important is the obelisk pieces. I know this is overlooked thus far, mainly because we haven't seen too many obelisk piece activations yet. But just keep in mind that in Apes Come Home, I do think that it was confirmed that if you have an other deed that does not have an obelisk piece for the first trip, that it will get the first trip if you use your deed to participate in that Apes Come Home event in February. So keep that in mind. I think obelisk pieces are very important to track your progress, especially track your deed's progress to the contribution of Otherside development, which is, I guess, I think those contribute to the other 100K Otherdeeds that will probably release later, but I'm going to just not mention that right now because it's getting to the weeds. But anyways, let's talk about Maras, right? So Maras are important because they basically do what you want, right? There are worker slots that you have to fill. Whether that's fighting your whether that's fighting your your shattered Goliath bosses here. I'm still fighting my mosquito boss. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to beat this. I hope I'm gonna be able to wreck this boss before the end of the season because I definitely want the loot because I'm gonna be building those ship parts. But that leads me to my next point. Maras are important to complete the objectives that you have in Legends of the Mara. Whether that's fighting your bosses, which is what I'm doing because I want I want the loot. I want Forgotten Runes loot. I want Renga loot. I want Serum City loot. I want to get the ship parts so I can have ship parts in whatever we're going to be doing inside of, the mobile expansion, right? So if you want the ship parts, if you want the loot, then by all means, you can browse your Maras. You can browse from the type of Maras here. The hunters are the orange ones and the farmers are the green ones. And then, of course, the enchanters are the blue ones, but I don't have any enchanters. And I would say enchanters are just auxiliary because they enhance your... they help you farm or fight. They provide buffs for you. But I would say if you're just starting out, then picking whether you want to hunt with the orange ones or you want to farm with the farmers, that's probably going to be a more core decision that you'll have to make. So personally, I'm just farming I'm hunting because I want that loot, guys. I want loot. So by all means, feel free to scroll through that. But again, Mara's a little bit boring until we get Koda Maras. I'm excited for that, but that collection comes later. So we'll talk about that later. So anyways, let's start with the more exciting thing, a more exciting topic. I've been window browsing these Kodas because, Kodas do a lot of damage, especially in Legends of the Mara, and they can be used as your profile picture. Currently they've been coming down in terms of price. We're sitting under 3 ETH now. So, I mean, they're coming into reach of collectors. But personally, you might be asking, okay, what's good about a Koda? And again, it's going to be important to determine what do you want to use it for? Of course, we're all going to be using it in Legends of the Mara, especially if you are getting a deed. But if you're more focused on just making this your PFP, then by all means, choose aesthetically, because I know I like picking aesthetics. I like the ones that have the same color. I like this red one looks pretty cool, especially since it has a Gucci Grail, and that has specific visual effects in 3D Otherside. I like this yellow one as well. So there are some clean ones on the floor, not gonna lie. I like the ones with armor too. You can also see the traits inside of Kodas here too, just like Otherdeeds. But this has clothing. It's got malachite armor. We don't necessarily know what armor is going to be doing in the future, but I'm sure you could make a guess. You can see all the traits from its head, its core, its eyes, its color, as well as its abilities. So if you're more focused on the game meta, then abilities are going to matter more to you because abilities range in scaling and synergies with if you decide to mix and match your Oda composition when you're fighting your shattered bosses. So you have to do more research. I would definitely recommend Otherside Wiki with regards to checking out all of the types of abilities. But overall, picking a Koda is probably a more of a personal decision. And aesthetics is on my top priority list. But again, I don't have a Koda. If I had more Kodas, then I'd probably aim towards getting particular abilities. But again, totally up to you. Damn, I haven't seen this Koda head in a long while. That looks pretty epic. But again, feel free to window shop as your heart desires. But that's all I got on my hands for thoughts on Kodas. Okay. Last but not least, I want to talk about the friends because friends are going to be I hope friends will be implemented in the next season because, we have an allusion to Shattered being able to fight back, but you might be wondering, okay, where's all that information coming from? What can we reference? And again, of course, I know the gaming blog hasn't been updated in a while, but I'm just gonna step off of it just because it's our light in the light in the dark for right now. So each Otherdeed will have a limited number of ally slots, right? So if we actually reference our card page over here, we can assign our ODAs to our worker slots, and there's going to be a certain number or a scaling number of ally slots that will be added to this UI at some point in the future, probably in season 3. And we know that, so which means you're going to have to choose an ally. You're going to have a limited number of ally slots. And there are a couple reasons you can pick allies, of course. There's a bunch to choose from. But again, we're just going to take a look at the core information here, right? So I'm going to try to find this. So in both season 1 and season 2, of course, we had an extension in this particular season. Voyagers join the fight by strategically equipping slots and hit points. So hit points are important in this next season, because Shattered are probably going to start doing damage to us, which necessitates our cards and our ODAs having HP. And essentially, when a card's HP has been exhausted, Voyagers can wait for them to recover over a cooldown period or use other means to heal sooner, regain HP, and get back into the fight. So this is really important. I know I've reiterated this in the past like a lot of times, but essentially, your DPS is going to proxy through your HP uptime, right? Your HP is going to it's going to be how long you can last against your Shattered when they're fighting back. So once fully healed, a card will return to the battlefield to defend Otherside once again. So again, that scaling is probably going to increase. The difficulty scaling may increase in season 3 because we're also going to get I hope we get our Kodomara fusions too. So I know that's a lot. There's a lot happening right now, but I just want to keep this in the context of the friends, right? So why might you pick up a friend, right? Of course, a friend, if we equip it to our Otherdeed, will help us fight the, our freaking mosquito boss here. I hope that's going to look cool. So, but additionally, outside of just fighting in Legends of the Mara, whether that's DPS, tanking, healing, I don't know. We don't know yet, but I would say there are a couple to choose from, right? We have our Kodas, we have our Rengas, we have the highly anticipated Grailed PFPs that are going to be announced pretty soon here. So I know a lot of guys are anticipating that. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. We also have Forgotten Runes. We also have our Apes, our Heavy Metals, Meebits, as well as World of Women and Cryptodes, and then our Hounds. So there's a lot of things to go over. I'll go over things in just a moment. So I already went over this. So I'm going to go over the partners and collections here from other decks. So you can access this by using the tabs here, and you can kind of see the allies here from Mutant Apes, G-Tags, Heavy Metal, Meebits, Kennel Club, and Yacht Club. But I would say, personally, I'm keeping an eye on the G-Tags because I know a lot of people are, and we saw a nice trailer showing off okay, I can't reference this. My memory is not serving me right now, but I know a lot of people are anticipating the G-Tags, so that's going to be hot. There's also Heavy Metal and Meebits, but I'm going to focus more on the partners, right? So in terms of pure DPS, right? I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating at this point. Megaforce Sentinels are sitting at 0.03, so that is probably the most affordable collection out of all the partners. So if you're looking for some efficient DPS, I think that may be it, but again, not financial advice. And then there's also Renga with the amazing art that's coming out of the collections thus far. And then Mutant Hounds also has Serum City going for that. So if you are looking for a hound to use in Serum City, there is that ecosystem that you can participate in. I know I'm just fighting them. I know I'm just building out my city in Serum City and using my hound to auto produce materials. So feel free to check out the hounds too. So if I go back to partners, click by floor. There's also Forgotten Runes Wizard called. So if you like fantasy, if you like wizards, then by all means, you should check out the wizards, because I know the Forgotten Runeverse, play events are coming pretty soon here in Q1. So I'm pretty excited for that. But by all means, I'm sure they'll help you inside of Legends of the Mara as well. And then, gosh, I got to keep clicking through this. There's also Cryptodes and then World of Women as well. I'm not up to date as much as I should be on the partner collections, but by all means, feel free to pick one out if you are looking for an ally and you're looking to expand your exposure or participate in different ecosystems within the Yuga Labs umbrella. So that's all I got for with regards to just reviewing the friends, kind of going through everything in other decks, from looking at Otherdeeds, Kodas, Maras, as well as everything else. You can always take a look at the tabs. There's there's a lot of stuff happening right now. I like looking at the map too. That's pretty chill. But that's all I got for today. I hope this video was insightful for you. I hope you learned something, and it's going to be great to review as we get closer to the end of season 2, because season 3 is going to probably change up a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of things happening. So as always, hit that like and subscribe button. All the links will be in the description. You guys know where to find me, and I'll see you in the other side. Peace.